Cornell Law School. UCC, Article 2, Sales. Part 1. Short title, General Construction and Subject Matter. Paragraph 201. Short title. Primary tabs. This article shall be known and may be cited as Uniform Commercial Code Sales. Paragraph 202. Scope. Certain security and other transactions excluded from this article. Primary tabs unless the context otherwise requires. This article applies to transactions in goods. It does not apply to any transaction which, although in the form of an unconditional contract to sell or present sale, is intended to operate only as a security transaction, nor does this article impair or repeal any statute regulating sales to consumers, farmers, or other specified classes of buyers. Paragraph 203. Definitions and index of definitions. Primary tabs. 1. In this article, unless the context otherwise requires, a. Buyer means a person who buys or contracts to buy goods. B. Good faith in the case of a merchant means honesty in fact and the observance of reasonable commercial standards of fair dealing in the trade. C. Receipt of goods means taking physical possession of them. D. Seller means a person who sells or contracts to sell goods. 2. Other definitions applying to this article or to specified parts thereof, and the sections in which they appear are: acceptance, Section 2606. Banker's credit, Section 2325. Between merchants, Section 2104. Cancellation, Section 2106-4. Commercial unit, Section 2105. Confirmed credit, Section 2325. Conforming to contract, Section 2106. Contract for sale, Section 2106. Cover, Section 2712. Entrusting, Section 2403. Financing agency, Section 2104. Future goods, Section 2105. Goods, Section 2105. Identification, Section 2501. Installment contract, Section 2612. Letter of credit, Section 2325. Lot, Section 2105. Merchant, Section 2104. Overseas, Section 2323. Person and position of seller, Section 2707. Present sale, Section 2106. Sale, Section 2106. Sale on approval, Section 2326. Sale or return, Section 2326. Termination, Section 2106. 3. The following definitions and other articles applied to this article. Check. Section 3104. Consignee, Section 7102. Consigner, Section 7102. Consumer goods, Section 9109. Dishonor, Section 3507. Draft, Section 3104. 4. In addition, Article 1 contains general definitions and principles of construction and interpretation applicable throughout this article. Paragraph 104. Definitions. Merchant. Between merchants. Financing agency. Primary tabs. 1. Merchant means a person who deals in goods of the kind or otherwise by his occupation holds himself out as having knowledge or skill peculiar to the practices or goods involved in the transaction, or to whom such knowledge or skill may be attributed by his employment of an agent or broker or other intermediary who by his occupation holds himself out as having such knowledge or skill. 2. Financing agency means a bank, finance company or other person who in the ordinary course of business makes advances against goods or documents of title, or who by arrangement with either the seller or the buyer intervenes in ordinary course to make or collect payment due or claimed under the contract for sale, as by purchasing or paying the seller's draft or making advances against it, or by merely taking it for collection, whether or not documents of title accompany the draft. Financing agency includes also a bank or other person who similarly intervenes between persons who are in the position of seller and buyer in respect to the goods. Section 2707. 3. Between merchants means in any transaction with respect to which both parties are chargeable with the knowledge or skill of merchants. Paragraph 105. Definitions. Transferability. Goods, future goods, lot, commercial unit. Primary tabs. 1. Goods means all things, including specially manufactured goods, which are movable at the time of identification to the contract for sale other than the money in which the price is to be paid. Investment securities, Article 8, and things in action. Goods also includes the unborn young of animals and growing crops and other identified things attached to realty as described in the section on goods to be severed from realty, section 2107. 2. Goods must be both existing and identified before any interest in them can pass. Goods which are not both existing and identified are future goods. A purported present sale of future goods or of any interest therein operates as a contract wholesale. 3. There may be a sale of a part interest in existing identified goods. 4. An undivided share in an identified bulk of fungible goods is sufficiently identified to be sold although the quantity of the bulk is not determined. Any agreed proportion of such a bulk or any quantity thereof agreed upon by number, weight or other measure may to the extent of the seller's interest in the bulk be sold to the buyer, then becomes an owner in common. 5. Lot means a parcel or a single article which is the subject matter of a separate sale or delivery, whether or not it is sufficient to perform the contract. 6. Commercial unit means such a unit of goods as by commercial usage is a single whole for purposes of salient division of which materially impairs its character or value on the market or in use. A commercial unit may be a single article, as a machine, or a set of articles, as a suite of furniture, or an assortment of sizes, or a quantity, as a bale, gross, or carload, or any other unit treated in use or in the relevant market as a single whole. Paragraph 106. Definitions. Contract, agreement, contract for sale, sale, present sale, conforming to contract, termination, cancellation. Primary tabs. 1. In this article, unless the context otherwise requires, contract and agreement are limited to those relating to the present or future sale of goods. Contract for sale includes both the present sale of goods and a contract to sell goods at a future time. A sale consists in the passing of title from the seller to the buyer for a price. Section 2401. A present sale means a sale which is accomplished by the making of the contract. 2. Goods or conduct including any part of a performance are conforming or conform to the contract when they are in accordance with the obligations under the contract. 3. Termination occurs when either party pursuant to a power created by agreement or law puts an end to the contract otherwise than for its breach. On termination, all obligations which are still executory on both sides are discharged, but any right based on prior breach or performance survives. 4. Cancellation occurs when either party puts an end to the contract for breach by the other, and its effect is the same as that of termination, except that the canceling party also retains any remedy for breach of the whole contract or any unperformed balance. Paragraph 207. Goods to be severed from realty, recording. Primary tabs 1. A contract for the sale of minerals or the like, including oil and gas, or a structure or its materials to be removed from realty is a contract for the sale of goods within this article if they are to be severed by the seller but until severance a purported present sale thereof which is not effective as a transfer of an interest in land is effective only as a contract to sell. 2. A contract for the sale apart from the land of growing crops or other things attached to realty incapable of severance without material harm thereto but not described in subsection 1 or of timber to be cut is a contract for the sale of goods within this article whether the subject matter is to be severed by the buyer or by the seller even though it forms part of the realty at the time of contracting, and the parties can by identification effect a present sale before severing. 3. The provisions of this section are subject to any third-party rights provided by the law relating to realty records, and the contract for sale may be executed and recorded as a document transferring an interest in land and shall then constitute notice to third parties of the buyer's rights under the contract for sale.